Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to a best of 5 series of StarCraft 2. Now what I've got for you today is a Zerg versus Terran that, as of me casting it, was played just a couple of hours ago. And from what I understand, this is one of the absolute craziest grand finals ever. At the very least, a lot of you have reached out and mentioned that apparently this is a ridiculous series. So I am very excited to find out exactly what ended up going down. I did glance at the duration of some of the games, because I was wondering how long it was going to take me to roughly record this, and it turns out this is going to be a very long video. So I hope you're ready. I hope you got yourself a drink. I hope you're prepared, because we are in for what should be an absolute treat. Now, game number 1, we find ourselves on the map post-Youth, and spawning right here in the top right-hand corner, we have none other than Dark. His opponent in the opposite corner with the blue SCVs. He goes by the name of ByuN. Alrighty. So, this particular series, it's the finals of the Korean StarCraft League number 50. The tournament organizer themselves, they specifically reached out to me and sent me these replays in person, because apparently it is that good. Apparently we're going to see some of the craziest gameplay decisions in a while, and I don't really want to, like, overhype it, I guess, because it is one of those situations where sometimes people reach out and they tell me, Lowko, this is the most amazing game ever! And then it turns out it's 2 players doing nothing for 40 minutes until one epic clash. I'm hoping that that is not going to be the case here. I don't want to overhype it, but I am certainly excited to find out, because Dave, the tournament organizer, he watches a lot of StarCraft. He casts a lot of StarCraft, so I'm assuming we are in for what is going to be a little bit different than what we ordinarily see. If I were to make any predictions here, I think that's mostly going to be because of the man right here in the top right-hand corner. Dark is a bit of a madman. He generally doesn't play the game entirely by the quote-unquote rules. I mean, ByuN obviously also known for some crazy cheeses and some weird build orders in general, but it does seem like most of the time these days, at least, ByuN plays relatively normal StarCraft. Just a very micro-heavy style. Obviously, this is played on a Korean server, so no ping disadvantages or anything like that. And look at that. ByuN immediately goes into a 3rd command center. This is an exceptionally early 3rd CC. Yeah, Dark is looking around right now. He's thinking that this might be an option. He's gonna see that there's no second gas guys are taken yet, but that's not really gonna give him that much information. ByuN will have enough gas at this point in time to make a factory, but he instead decides to go for a barracks. So this is basically the greediest opener you can play as Terran. This is barracks, command center into another barracks. He's basically not gonna have any attacking unit other than, well, a Reaper, maybe a couple Marines here in the earlier stages of the game. So, if Dark would have known this, he probably would have liked to go for the golden minerals here instead of these minerals right up here, but you're always dealing with incomplete information, and even though he does find out about the 3rd command center timing right now, I don't think there is a whole lot that he can do about it. Alrighty. Now, of course, it is important to note that these two have played against each other for literally more than a decade now. So they know the opponent inside and out, and it immediately does make the series a little bit crazy as well in that sense, because there's a lot of mind games that can certainly be played. Dark, though, not going for anything too wild here. I have seen the man, for example, nice catch. I have seen him cancel link speed and instantly throw up a Roach Warren against this sort of stuff when he finds out, but instead it looks like Dark is going to be meeting ByuN, as he wants to play the big macro game here as well. Okay. So, let's see. Should be Stimpak here pretty quickly for ByuN. Although he currently doesn't have the gas for it yet. It is, yeah, 100 gas for the Stimpak research. There it is. But of course, this is a super late factory, right? Now, he is adding on a 3rd gas already. Okay, barracks number 3 coming up, too. Some interesting timing. Look at Dark, by the way. Oh, no. What? Yo, Dark has scouted the triple CC opener from the opponent. He's like, okay, let's dance. I am gonna take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I guess soon to be 6. Oh, okay, no, that was bait. No, it wasn't 6 hatch. He just hit a bit of a supply block and he was considering it, but I think it's actually a little... There's definitely an upper limit to the hatcheries you want to take, but taking a 6 base at the 4.5 minute mark would be a little bit crazy. Yeah, that would be a little nuts. Okay. Sometimes too much of a good thing can be a bad situation in the end, right? Maybe he's making the assumption that ByuN right now is also going to make a 4th command center. Problem, of course, for Terran is that you actually need units in order to secure bases. A luxury that Zerg can oftentimes get away with. Getting these Marines, though, would actually be really good right now for the Zerg player. Yeah. Woo! This is right before Stimpack, Combat Shields, and +1 is done. So snatching 6 of those Marines here, that's like half the army of the Terran. Actually a substantial kill. The only weird thing is that, okay, apparently these Zerglings are running around with blinders on. Kind of like horses, you know? He didn't actually see the command center over there. So that's a little unfortunate. Probably could have had an SCV kill or maybe a liftoff on the orbital. I think if he just made a big round of links, which is what he's doing right now, yeah, he might just be able to surround this. Although at this point, 1-1 combat shield, or actually no, not combat shields. Combat shields is a little bit later. It was the 1-1 upgrade. It was the +1 infantry armor. But anyways, 1-1 and Stimpack here are done. With good surface area here, or, well, negating good surface area here, yeah. Shoving your units, for example, behind that gas geyser, I think that ByuN can easily win that fight. And he instantly goes into 2-2. So we can talk about, like, economical greed. But this is also certainly upgrade greed right here from Dark, or from ByuN. Dark, in the meantime, by the way, double expanding again. So he's got another base now building as well. So he is actually going straight up to basically 7 bases. Okay. Interestingly enough, we don't even have Baneling speed started yet. Okay, there we go. This is a very late Baneling speed, and that could actually be a bit of a disaster too. Oh, that's a lot of links. Finally, Medevacs hit the battlefield, but yeah, these positions are just so good for the Terran. Luckily for Dark, he did make at least a handful of Banes there, forcing the lift off, because ByuN would have happily stood around there with his army. Kill a ton of these Zerglings. Another base, by the way. What the heck? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? 8? Can I count? I feel like I can. Dark has literally made more hatcheries now than minutes in the game. That's... That does seem a little extreme, though. Especially with 77 drones. I'm assuming he wants to go like 100 here, but he currently can't. But with 77 drones, you can't even remotely satisfy all of those mineral fields, man. Anyways. Okay, well, he gets a kill on one base. I guess that's nice, ByuN, but that was just the beginning of it, you know? It's like the, what is it? The mythological Hydra? I think it's the Hydra, right? Where you cut off one of the heads and then 3 ones. Yeah, that's basically what we have right over here from Dark. He does decide to go for a hive now. Going into a delayed +2 armor, but at the very least, yeah, he does have Baneling speed, so this is not really Dark setting himself up for an attack anytime soon. This will very much so be the Zerg player chilling here, sitting back, macroing up, and, well, eventually building a large army. But for the time being, even though he's nearly maxed out, he really has no real plans here to attack, I don't think. He really does have a lot of stuff, though. All right. Anyways, what's going on in the meantime on the other side? Well, we've got ourselves a pretty greedy 4th command center in a regular game. Okay, 5th CC on the back it is. We've got ourselves a 3rd factory. Now, that is a very early 3rd factory. Interesting. I actually believed that for a second to be the 2nd factory, but then I noticed the 2nd factory right next to the 3rd factory. And 2 + 1 is not 2, guys. Like I told you, I can count. It is definitely a little weird now to go for a 3rd factory already. Normally you wouldn't make that until a bit later. Generally speaking, at this stage in the game, Terrans would be prioritizing ghost production. Going into Liberators, for example, would not be a bad choice. But I think ByuN is looking at this army composition here from the Zerg, and he realizes this is not going to be Lurkers. This is not going to be Ultras yet. We're not gonna... Like, I have no rush. I have no rush to go into either Liberators or, for example, Ghosts. Instead, what I would like to have is a lot more splash damage to try and deal with those Lings and Banes. That's exactly what he's decided to go for with mass siege tank production here instead. It's a bit funky, though. Yeah, here's the additional barracks finishing up inside of the main base, but I don't believe there is a Ghost Academy. We're gonna make Marauders with concussive shells instead? Okay, well, there's the Ghost Academy. That's a little funky. Not normally the way that you play this, but I think in the end, all the roads do lead towards ghosts. Oh, okay. Bunch of Marines here pretending to be a supply depot wall. My god. Interestingly enough, Dark only, and I say only because it's usually not even that bad, but 75 drones, considering he's only lost a single worker this game, really isn't that much. I wouldn't mind seeing him make all the way up to like literally triple digits. Because these bases over here, yeah, look at that. We have expansions taken, but since the main base and all that is still, well, relatively healthy, he doesn't really have a lot of use for those additional mineral fields. So he's really very much so treating this as a macro hatchery right now that just happens to be built near a mineral line. Okay, now ghosts are coming. Great timing here as well by ByuN. Even though he doesn't really know that Ultras are apparently going to be hitting the battlefield here within a minute or two. I don't think he has seen the Ultra Cavern. It doesn't really matter all too much, because the timing here for the Terran is excellent. I would like to maybe see a second starport, if we're being greedy. But of course, this is the age of Terrans making a gajillion command centers. Generally speaking, in the current meta of StarCraft 2, Terrans aim for about a dozen orbital commands if they can get there. When you get up to your sufficient orbital command count, you can just start sacrificing your SCVs, and you really don't have to remake them. So currently, some nice parabombs going around, but currently Dark is still playing against the Terran, who's quite reliant on the SCVs, 83 of them in total. Eventually, if it is up to ByuN, he is going to be giving up a lot of those SCVs and favor the yellow mining machines instead. Yeah, AI is coming for you guys' jobs. Fairly sure there's no one inside of the mule, right? I'm pretty sure the mule, as far as the lore of the game goes, I think it's just a bunch of debris or something that is hanging around the planet, and it gets constructed in the orbital, and then, like, you know, it gets called upon and it drops out of the high heavens and mines for a little bit, and then it breaks. Yeah. Anyways, AI is replacing the job of the SCVs here as well in the next couple of minutes, if ByuN has any say in the matter. Now, what is that? Okay. Alright, sure. We have 9 Dropper Lords. That's a lot. That's a lot of Dropper Lords. Terran is playing a mobile army here, though. Even though Terran is very spread out, I don't think... I mean, you're gonna have to run. Yeah, I was gonna say, you really have to get into the base here ASAP. There is a push here as well at the front in the meantime. A lot of siege tanks, though. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I think this is totally fine. Well managed here by ByuN. That sensor tower in a brilliant position, and he actually sees this army coming in from a mile away. So even though that was a little sketchy, I think he handled it nicely. Those siege tanks in those clever positions here, really putting in a lot of work. Look at that. 13, 20 kills, 8 kills, 5 kills, 9 kills, 3, 0 on that guy, 1, 11, 17. Basically what I'm saying is the siege tanks have been very efficient. Okay. So Terrans, as you probably are well aware by now, but in case you haven't watched a ton of StarCraft lately, Terrans, generally speaking, play quite turtily in the late game in the current meta. Aiming for about a dozen orbital commands, replacing the lost SCVs at that point with more army units, so you end up with like 170 army supply or so in an ideal world. Zergs have a very hard time fighting that if they do decide to mine 50% of the map. Zergs in the current meta of StarCraft try to not just mine like 50% of the map, they aim for like 60%. The idea being that even though they're cost inefficient in the late game by quite a significant margin, if you take one of the bases that would ordinarily be the Terrans and you mine that one out, obviously, well, not only do you get more income, you also deny income that could have been the opponent's. So that is one of the reasons why, yeah, exactly. Now Dark did go all the way up to 90-something workers, and he's adding on even more. He wants to try and saturate those outer bases that would be considered to be the Terrans, just because he knows that this game is very likely going to take him a while. Taking one of those expansions is huge. If he can take 2, that would be amazing for Dark. Yeah, I actually wouldn't mind seeing him just transfer drones from this expansion straight on over towards the left. I wouldn't mind even seeing him trying to take this one at the bottom. Because even though he's unlikely to hold on, it is going to be a target for ByuN to try and shut down. So if you take like more bases than you can actually handle, if you have enough minerals in the bank, sometimes it's actually a pretty efficient way to play. Because it allows you to mine the bases that are a little bit further from the Terran, but would still be considered to be one of the Terrans. Anyways, we've seen a lot of mind games in the late game lately. We've also seen Terrans get a little carried away as far as the amount of command centers that they make goes. Because currently we are at 8 orbitals, 1 command center done, 1 planetary. 2 more coming up. 1 just finished, actually. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is sometimes we see Terrans going up to like 20 command centers, and there is certainly an upper limit. Because at some point there are just not enough minerals to mine anymore. Starport's coming up. Additional factories building. We have ourselves a fusion core for probably Liberator ranged, but I mean, if ByuN wants to, he could play battle cruisers. Double Spire as well inside of the main base here for Dark, who is realizing that this game is going to take a while, so even though he currently doesn't have any flying units, he may as well start upgrading them, because it takes a while if he ever needs it. Okay. Now, I will say, and I'll try to be unbiased, okay? But I am obviously... Well, I'm not entirely impartial because I've played about a decade and a half of Zerg at this point. I will say that the majority of the encounters I've seen in the late game lately seem to go in favor of Terran, which is exactly why we have these relatively passive games, where a lot of the Terrans are not really aiming to win the game by minute 10, not even aiming to win by minute 20. I've seen a lot of games where they try to aim at, like, you know, the 30+ minute mark. Seems to be very effective. However, when it comes to the best Zerg players in the world, like for example Dark, they do seem to be able to pull rabbits out of hats. It's just that everybody below Dark skill level seems to struggle with this turtle meta quite a bit. Ghosts are hitting the battlefield right now as well in pretty large numbers. As a matter of fact, right now, we only have 1 Marine and then 8 Ghosts. You know what? We're all the way up to 17 siege tanks. Is this like a freaking planet? Well, yeah. Okay. ByuN is creating a roundabout over here. It's an important, delicate intersection over here, okay? We gotta make sure that everybody is gotta be safe, so we're gonna go around in circles and then you just take the exit that you need. We're sniping banelings. That's almost a flex. Anyways, even though this is a bio opener here for ByuN, he has not really even made that many bio units. Yeah, he's got 8 racks. But not really an army that, yeah, consists of a lot of biological troops at this point. So that hatchery will certainly be killed. Thors are coming up. Advanced Ballistics is researching. Infernal Pre-Igniter coming up. We're going for Smart Servos, which is one of those upgrades that you get when you have more money than you know what to do with. 31 Mutas? What? Whoa, 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 whoa. What? Dark? Hello? A mass Mutalisk transition? Now that is exceptionally uncommon. This is the stage in the game where Zergs will go Broodlord, Infestor, Viper, Corruptor, Spore Crawler, the whole shebang. Luckily here for ByuN, he does see this coming in from a mile away. He starts up 11 missile turrets, the majority of them over here apparently. Mutas are flying on down south. What is, couple reasons why Mutas are weird here. First off, they feel like paper planes. In the late game, there's a lot of damage potential for Terran. Thors are obviously amazing, and we have a couple of them already around. Yeah, look at them. Ready to shoot some javelin missiles if they can. In general, this is an harassment unit, right? So Mutas are really good at killing SCVs, killing workers, that sort of thing. But they're not very good at fighting because they have so many natural enemies. Yeah, Thors are going to be able to he's going mass Muta. He's doubling down. Dark is an absolute madman here. I don't think it's good. It's a very expensive investment. And I'm a little afraid that this is like a desperation play from Dark, that he's thinking, yo, I see where this ship is headed, right? I know where we're gonna go next. Even though I have infinite money and I'm mining basically the entire map, I am not really secure in the thought of playing late game against, well, Terran here. So I'm going to be doing this. So they're going to have 3-3 in about a minute and a half, maybe. Tactical nuke coming up, by the way, towards the bottom right-hand corner now. Okay, so that is one of the things that we didn't quite have in the equation of Terran. He did end up canceling the nuke here, but... One thing that used to be done in the early days of StarCraft 2, whenever Zerg would play against strategies that they deemed they couldn't fight. This happened specifically against Protoss back then. Is to just make a gajillion spine crawlers, spore crawlers, and mutas. And rather than ever actually fighting the opponent's army, you go for full-on counterattacks, basically like this instead. He's actually getting so much value. He's got so many properly upgraded mutas here that... Oh my god, that's so many missile turrets. Jeez Louise. Okay. Anyways, that is always a consideration, I guess. To, rather than fighting the Terran army, you just go into a counterattack squad instead and run circles around them. I think this is ByuN actually now making a bunch of, well, I could call them Valkyrie. We're gonna try and use what is normally considered to be an anti-ground unit for its anti-air attack instead. Looks like the SCVs are gonna be able to keep this one alive too, so that's also a costly exchange, and ultimately, all of this is very, very pricey for the Zerg player. Ultras are gonna be coming next. I forgot I had some coffee over here. It's getting cold. This game has been all over the place so far. Haven't had time to drink my coffee. No worries though, I will even drink my coffee cold. I'm not gonna let that go to waste. No, I take my caffeine addiction very seriously. No one will ever say that I'm not a... well, we can, okay, yeah, that works. Don't know what the blinding cloud was for, but sure. That was a horrible engagement right there, though, for Dark. So basically what we're seeing, right, is a Zerg player throwing away gajillions of Banes and Mutas here, and they're not really getting great value out of it. Now, apparently ByuN, also feeling generous, decides to donate a couple of Thors. Yeah. He did reconsider there for just a moment, boosted the Metavex in. Okay, more Mutas coming up. Baneling's trying to get a good hit in as well. Ultra's starting to break through a lot of this. Ah, those Mutas are... I don't think those Mutas are good at all here. I wanted to believe, but the fact that ByuN He makes more! What? The fact that ByuN sees it coming in is so dangerous. That being said, though, he did kill all of the missile turrets. Well, at least, not all of them. Oh, no. You know what? I thought there were less than there actually are. There's still 29 missile turrets. A bunch of them were made to like, deny, for example, night display, but anyways, that works as well as anything. So one thing to note, though, is that Dark has been mining a stupid amount of resources here. Even though this is the stage in the game where usually Terran overtakes the income, Dark has mined a ton up to this point. It's just that I feel like, unless these Mutas get extreme value... No, well, this... That's super dead. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. Unless these Mutas get a lot of value, I've got a feeling this is gonna be a very difficult game to win. Where's the Terran army, though? Here come the Liberators. Liberators with their splash damage. So to clarify, Liberators air-to-air is splash damage. It's kind of like a sentry. At least in a one-on-one engagement. But I have certainly seen fully upgraded Libs deal quite a bit of damage. Now that is one thing we are lacking. We are only up to +1 for the air units here, which is actually quite an oversight. I really think that we should see continued armory production here, because there are quite a few upgrades that are still absolutely essential here. +2 armor as well on all of those mech units is quite significant. That is a lot more here, actually, a lot more damage here taken by ByuN than he should be. Ghost trying their very best to get damage done wherever possible. He is just jumping the army units. Magic boxing wherever he can. Here's some of those Libs. We're splitting Mutas against Liberators. Okay. 12 20 more mutas on the production tab. I glanced down at the bottom of the screen to see the amount of gas that Dark has whenever he makes this clump of mutas. And every time I expect him to sit at 0, but I have now seen about 100 mutas in this game. And he still has enough for about 29 more. Alright, well this base is gonna go down. I, by the way, did spoil myself for a relatively small thing in this game. I will tell you guys a little bit later, I suppose. Oh my god, this is a great fight. Oh, this is actually a really good fight, I think, for Dark. I mean, I say that. Those medevacs. Oh my god. No, ghosts are okay. Ghosts are pretty strong, my god. I have not really seen 3-3 mutas fight 3-3 ghosts with a bunch of medevacs healing them. Even their auto attacks are pretty strong. Now we have a squad of liberators trying to hunt this down. Magic boxing up in the air to try and mitigate as much of the splash damage as possible. Couple more do move away from their anti-ground mode, but mutas do reign supreme there. Now we have more ultras on the production tab again. ByuN is actually kind of broke. In a very strange way, in a very strange turn of events, despite having 8 orbital commands and mining half his map, ByuN is actually surprisingly broke. He's not even maxed out right now. What? Mutas are not it, man. I don't believe in the... I don't know. I got a feeling there's gonna be people watching this that feel inspired. And they're like, yeah, I'm gonna play mutas against Terran late game too. Look, I wish you good luck. I wish you good luck, but... This is a unit, right, that really is made out of... It's made out of paper. It's one of those units that really shouldn't work at this stage in the game. But Dark is getting a surprising bit of value out of these, well, 100 plus mutas at this point in time. We've had 46 missile turret kills. 46. With 25 still yet available right here for ByuN. Interestingly enough, though, missile turrets, while considered to be quite free usually for Terrans because they've got so much money, if you make 100 of them, it does add up. That actually explains where ByuN's mineral bank went. He started spending it early to try and combat the mass muta transition. How many command centers did he make? We're at 8 right now, 8 orbital commands. He did lose 5 planetaries. He's actually lost... Anyways, he's made about 20 CCs in this game. 20 CCs-ish, 75-ish missile turrets. That is an absurd amount of resources lost. So Dark is not really capable of fighting the army very effectively, but he is fighting the infrastructure, which is a very strange... What in the world are we witnessing here? I'm still a little afraid that at some point those mutas are gonna fly over a bunch of missile, or not missile turrets, widow mines. I'm a little surprised we haven't actually seen any widow mines, by the way, now that I think of it. I think widow mines are an absolute no-brainer here. Yeah, instead ByuN is going for the quote-unquote more reliable choice in Thors and Ghost and a bunch of Liberators and all that, but I think widow mines are severely lacking. Imagine a bunch of widow mines just burrowed in random locations. We have seen clumps of mutas die to that many, many times. Ay. I think ByuN is kind of playing this quite suboptimally here. Clearly. What? Why are we killing orbitals now with banelings? What the heck, ByuN? ByuN did not expect that at all. Dark's saying, yo, just put it on my credit card. Just put it on my card, bro. I have one of those unlimited... Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'll pay. Quite the flex here from Dark, but he is pretty much out of cash here. Because he made 21 additional mutas. Okay. This is the point where, for at least a little bit, ByuN is ahead in the supply count once more. The only thing that Dark can really make here is lings, I guess? Lings and queens and spines and spores, that sort of thing. But yeah, exactly. Those drones are now not really... They don't have a job anymore. Heavily oversaturated, of course, in any of those bases. He's going to try and retake another one, as well as the opposite base in the other side of the map. This is one of the most ridiculous late games I've ever seen. I did not expect Dark to make a transition to literally now about 150 mutas. I don't want to do... I'm already doing too much math, okay? Math is a dangerous thing when you're recording, because you're only looking... You're basically setting yourself up to look like a fool. But 150 muta transition in the late game of TVZ is absurd. Never seen before. He's still all over the place, by the way. It seems to me that Dark is playing an exceptionally quick game. Zerglings are starting to slip through the cracks. A bunch of siege tanks dealing friendly fire as well to their, to their allies. Thor's trying to get some hits in, but... So who do you think actually is currently winning, though? I don't know. Even though I think ByuN has not been playing this optimally because he hasn't been... Oh, this is a great fight right here for Dark. He catches about half the army and all of the ghosts. What? ByuN decided to do a massive split on creep of his entire army. So half his troops are over here in the bottom right-hand corner. Dark obviously has an extremely fast-moving army. So he decided to put all of his troops together using the advantage of the creep, and he just had to fight half of the Terran army. Which is exactly what he was hoping for. That hatchery did end up staying alive. One of them did go down in the bottom right-hand corner, but I think that was about the best case scenario right there for Dark. I'm a little surprised ByuN decided to go that deep while splitting his army up. I don't think he intended on doing that. I think he's been trying to keep his eyes on the mutas. And it's clear that he is not entirely comfortable playing against this style. I still don't know if I like this for Dark necessarily, though. I think it's decent. I'm still just a little afraid we're gonna watch all these mutas die, because ultimately this is muta Ling. We have 13 mutas and 60 Zerglings. That's it. What are we looking at? What is going on right now? Dark trying his hardest to split against these units. At least kill that one Liberator. We have some queens coming in for the transfusion right now on the muta. Okay. Where are you going, Orbital? What are you doing? What are we achieving here? This is, of course, a spectacular game right here by Dark, but I really feel like ByuN is handing some of those engagements to him on a silver platter. Those Liberators, they didn't need to stay around there. He was not microing them very much of anything. I think it was just sort of... I think he may have forgotten about it, to be honest. Same for that Orbital Command. He just sort of had that hanging around in the corner. Couple drones here thinking about becoming a hatchery, but not going to happen. I love the addition right here of the Blue Flame Hellbats. ByuN is reading this game, yeah, appropriately. He must realize that at this point, there can't be a whole lot of gas anymore, because mutas are a very expensive gas unit. And obviously, if there's not a lot of, well, gas-heavy units available, and Banelings are no longer really an option, Blue Flame Hellions are going to make short work of any sort of Zergling. Marines also in the mix here, yeah. So ByuN is actually teching all the way back down. We were all the way up to Ghost Liberator and a bunch of, well, Thors and whatnot in the mix too. We're ultimately going back to Ling Bane against Marines and Hellbats. We have climbed the pyramid of tech and now we're going back down the other side again. Both players are effectively broke. They're mining the opposite sections of the map. The thing is... you know what? This is... very close. Very close. We have seen ByuN bleed out so many units, though, freely. Yeah, the awkward part here for ByuN is that his production is over here, but his income is over there. So, in completely different sections of the map. So he needs to control both the bottom right as well as the bottom left. One advantage, I guess, though, for ByuN is that he knows that he mined out this expansion. So this base over here is no longer around. Meaning that at most, Dark is only ever going to have that base in the top left right now that he's currently mining. There's 42 drones working on 5 mineral fields. That is not quite ideal. Similarly, though, ByuN has got only a single mineral line here. But I think this is better for ByuN still. I still think this is better for ByuN. Resources lost-wise, about 3,000 gas more lost by the Zerg, which is actually surprising, considering the amount of Banes and Mutas and Ultras and all that have died. Actually kind of... It's the 50 Ghost, man. 50 Ghosts, 34 Siege Tanks and Libs. That is a ridiculous amount of gas down the drain. My units lost interface apparently was never made with 4 digits worth of units in mind. Because my 1,033 Zerglings here have bugged out. Could be 4,000. Anyways. No, it's definitely 1,000. But still, that is a surprisingly even resources lost screen. I'm actually pleasantly surprised with how close this is. Huh. Ultimately, though, Terran, when only minerals are available, can make Hellbats and Marines. Oh, I accidentally set the scoreboard to 4-0 for Dark. I don't think that happened. Especially not in the best of 5. That would be crazy. When did I do that? Has that been there for ages? I don't know. Anyways. Terran can make Hellbats, Hellions, Marines, right? With only minerals. Zerg can make Zerglings? Marines and Hellbats are gonna be quite good in that department. He is long distance mining these 2 extractors, so even on the minerals, you know what? These gases, they were never fully mined here by yeah, you know what? This is, let them cook, yeah, this is doable. There may be an opportunity here as well for Dark to go back into Queen production, but I don't think that really is a great choice with this mobile of a squad. Okay. 69 creep tumors in total. Nice! Now it's 70. Okay, I think what we're basically witnessing here is both players just mining out their sections of the map. After a very action-packed 35 minutes or so. Well, I guess the first 5 minutes were very passive. After a very action-packed 30 minutes or so, both players have decided to do a little bit of meditation, a little bit of relaxation, and we're just doing a bit of mining around the map. Burrowed Banes have been set up. Oh, I think those were the same ones, actually. Yeah, he just moved them up a little bit because the creep is moving forward on the left. There's still 200 minerals over there, a little bit of gas. I mean, if we have a bunch of orbitals, we may as well just take whatever we can. Just mine out whatever is possible. I think actually you do want to mine this. As silly as it sounds, I'm thinking taking the 1,200 gas here and some extra minerals is not a bad choice. Okay. These gases may actually be quite decisive. Like, they may actually be the determining factor here in the game. ByuN did not take them early. Even though we're long distance mining it, I don't really know if we need to. I guess he's got the excess drone, so he may as well. It's 135 army supply right now for Terran versus a 112 here for the Zerg. Plus, this is a much higher Terran quality, I would say, right? Now, we do have infestors coming up. I don't think we ever saw neural parasite research. No, so no neural parasite research. So the infestors are going to be used for fungal growth alone. Still very powerful. I don't think he's going to use microbial shroud, but hey, at this point, I wouldn't really be surprised by anything. Although at this point, we only have medevacs still available in the air. Last time I checked, their air-to-ground damage is negligible. Jimmy pretending to be a Marine. Sorry about that, Jimmy. Okay. Gives me a moment as well to finish my coffee. I'm actually not sure who's gonna win this. I have no idea. We are getting to a point as well where ByuN is not gonna want to step on creep. And Dark, likewise, wouldn't want to step off creep. Because a fight on creep means a fight with static defense. And a fight off creep means a fight with static defense. So in a very strange way, neither player really is going to want to move off creep or on creep, depending on what side you're on. Neuroparasite is coming here for Dark. Let me just remind you, by the way, that this is game number 1 in a best of 5 series. Just pointing it out there, just, you know, letting you know. Giving you some info. I think these gases are actually so good here for Dark. It's ultimately allowing him those infestors. Yeah, he had to smash his piggy bank. For every holiday, like his birthday, Christmas, he's been saving up for those infestors. He finally got there at the end of the year. But can we get the neuroparasites? Can we get the fungals that he is looking for? There are still ghosts in the mix, so we have 9 ghosts. I do, by the way, also love the missile turrets here on the edge. Missile turrets, of course, are detectors. So just seeing these units coming in, knowing very well here. Oh, this is Dark saying something. ByuN says, haha. Question mark, question mark. I have no idea what they're saying. I think they're talking about how much they have. How much supply they currently have. ByuN calls GG. So can I tell you guys what I know? I mentioned earlier that I made a tiny little spoiler for myself. I loaded up these replays after the tournament organizer sent me the replay pack, and I thought he made a mistake because both game number 1 and game number 2 take place on post-youth. Apparently they decided that game number 1 is going to end in a draw. So we're going to go back to post-youth again. Alrighty. Game number 2 in our best of 5 series. Take 2. Action. We find ourselves on the map post-youth once again. We did split or switch rather starting locations. So we've got that going for us, I suppose, but other than that, we are once again going to continue. So was that really a draw? That was the real question there, right? Was that really a draw? Sometimes players agree upon a draw, even though it didn't really necessarily need to be. One thing to note as well is that sometimes I guess the games can be exceptionally stressful. And the players are just like, you know what, we don't. And if both players agree on a draw, I guess it is something you can do. I don't think that necessarily was a draw, but I can also imagine that neither player really wanted to attack. Because there's such a big advantage to the defender. Yeah. Actually quite a difficult game right there to call. Anyways, post-youth 2.0. We already have a little bit of variation though, as ByuN has decided to go... No, actually, no, this is all basically the same. I think I'll speed up the game just a little bit, because we have just witnessed this already. It's going to be a command center over here. It's going to be a depot over there. We're going to probably see a marine on the back of this. I'm assuming we're going to see... Okay, there we go. Indeed, a factory. So, back to regular game speed. Factory is a little different. Ooh, he actually gets a kill right now as well with that Reaper. The factory here is a little bit different for sure. Because last game he decided to go for a really quick third command center. So ByuN is mixing it up right now. Probably because he feels like he absolutely needs to. I'm still not entirely over the 150 mutas in the late game. Is 150 mutas in the late game actually a good play? Is it really what we want to do? I am not convinced that it is the best play, but it is certainly an option. Now, by the way, This right here from Dark is a complete 180 because he is opening up entirely gasless. Yeah, so 3 minutes into the game, we're gonna take 2 gases at the same time. But he already has a 3rd hatchery finishing up. What this means is that he does not have link speed anytime soon. So he's gonna be in a world of trouble if the opponent decided to go for an aggressive build, but... this is a semi-aggressive one, obviously, as long as the queens are, securing this section of the map, as long as they have control of their ramp. Overall, this should be okay. And we're not even gonna see link speed here early either, I don't think. Instead, it's gonna be a Roach Warren. So Dark making a complete 180. Rather than committing to a, rather than committing to a Link Bane heavy army, which is what he did in the previous game, we're gonna go for the slowest moving Zerg early game instead. Yeah, we're gonna go for some roaches. Okay. Additional barracks coming up here as well for ByuN now. That is gonna be barracks number 2 and 3. Starport coming up. We should see the switcheroo here from this barracks onto that reactor. There we go. Golden minerals right now coming up here as well for Dark, so he's once again gonna try and mine with those. We may see a bit of a move out just to scare the Terran a little bit. I don't think ByuN is really gonna be scared, no. No. I like this move actually here by the Terran player, trying to go around. Good body blocking as well with the roaches, but yeah. It's really mostly just a fake opener, I guess, here from the Zerg, pretending like you're gonna go for a big aggressive attack, but ultimately Dark is really just making a lot of drones. Okay. Starport finishing up. Triple Rex opener well underway. We really do have to continue producing here. One Roach decides to sacrifice itself. The rest of the Zerg army is going back home. Lara's going to finish up, and 5 minutes into the game, we do not yet have link speed. Nope. No Zerg link speed here for Dark whatsoever. Stimpack is done. We need to see combat shields. Okay. Important not to forget about that one. ByuN flying the command center on down towards the low ground. And these two are effectively becoming neighbors, though. These expansions are really quite closely together, making it difficult, actually, for, I think, Dark in particular to defend against a big attack. Although I keep saying that, right? Usually Zergs are the ones that play quite defensively at this stage in the game. But this is Dark we're talking about, so it's honestly hard to really say where this is gonna go. I don't think he really wants to go for a big attack, because he's quite late on the upgrades if he wanted to do something like that. There's the +1 carapace. Matter of fact, drop coming across. Okay, he is finishing up 1-1 together with the combat shields research right around the same time. There's finally link speed. Okay. I do like this play there, though, right here from ByuN. Because this is such a slow-moving Zerg army, it's quite difficult for the Zerg to really control all of the flanks with a Roach Ravager-based troop. And I think trying to, pull them in all kinds of different angles is certainly the right call. Okay. Armoring coming up. A little late. You can tell that both of these players may also just be a little bit fatigued at this point. No very crisp start right there on the 2-2. A little bit of a supply block hit. I already saw a supply block earlier as well for Dark, as he was trying to make drones for this base. So you can tell that these players may just be human after all. Plus, of course, Dark currently has a newborn at home. If there's one theme I've noticed, I don't have kids myself, but it seems like everybody who has had a newborn at some point talks about, well, they talk about not sleeping very much. So I can imagine playing a long, drawn-out series here for Dark is also not necessarily what he's here for. I don't think you can push, though. No. He's making a lot of Ravagers. Now we're going loads and loads of Ravagers, loads and loads of Roaches. 1-1 is done here. Dark is, for all intents and purposes, maxed out. I think he wants to come in with a big surround. Yeah. I think he wants to go with... I can't zoom out any further, but I think this is him trying to go for a full-on 360 surround. Trying to draw the army towards the right and then move in on the left as well as the central lane. ByuN is chasing him pretty far though, but that does mean right now that the siege tanks on the left are going to fall. Dark is pushing these units all the way towards the corner. Now suddenly the SCV's here and might be in a bit of trouble, but I think this is okay for ByuN. 19 roaches on the back of this though. That is the real scary thing here. Command center, okay. Even the SCV itself gets countered. Dark trying to remax here as quickly as he can. +2/+2 coming up in the Evo chambers. So not a completely committed all-in. A couple drones right now also on the production tab. Nice control right there by ByuN actually in the end. Yep, and this is also a much better fight here for the Terran player. 2-2 is not yet done, so he needs to be a little careful. But I think if you don't have a lot of siege tanks, that's about the best fight you can hope for. An absolute bloodbath left over right here for Dark. Okay. Well, Dark is actually not slowing this down. He is not really keen on trying to play a long drawn-out macro game with Mass Muta again. So... he is trying to go for the sledgehammer approach. I think this is gonna get worse for the Zerg over time, to be honest. Yeah. I was gonna say, I don't think this is really gonna get much better. Because ByuN is soon gonna finish up 2-2, and that is gonna make his army much, much more powerful. Now remember, he was late on the armory, so he was late right there on the +2 research. What that does mean is that that previous engagement should have been done with 2-2 already finished. So these fights, they're still fine here for the Terran, but I think that could have been a little bit better. Likewise, Dark, he never really planned on the game going on this long, so his 2-2 is actually also a little bit delayed. Ultimately, though, it looks to me, yeah, like ByuN has managed to stabilize. He's now got double factory siege tank coming up. 4th command center is gonna land on down to the low ground. And I think ByuN will be more than happy to play a slow game again. Okay. Push over on the right side. Dark is dancing with the roaches and the ravagers. But it turns out he's going up against ByuN. Micro Jackson himself. Quite the dancer indeed. Actually, I've been to a club with StarCraft pro gamers. This was after a home story cup a long time ago. StarCraft players and StarCraft casters are the best dancers in the world. You kidding me? Nerds can dance really well. Absolutely. This is a very expensive set of units right here for Dark to lose, though. Yeah, StarCraft players are known as party animals. Absolutely. As long as we're home by 11 p.m. Absolute party animals. Sometimes I feel extra crazy and I have like a Diet Coke at like 9 p.m. Even though there's some caffeine in it. Oh my god. That's what I call a crazy night. I find this push kind of crazy too, though. I don't really love these attacks. Even though Dark is somewhat making it work, I've got a feeling it's gonna get worse over time, although I say that as he's finally forcing a liftoff on that orbital command, which is what he's been trying for a long while. We have a transition coming up, though. Hive is building. +1 melee is coming. And we have a Baneling Nest on the production tab, too. +3/+3 researching here for ByuN. So, the +3... The +3 is actually kind of good here. This is so many Roaches and Ravagers, my god. A complete 180 from the previous game, eh? Woo! Is this good for Zerg? I'm inclined to say no, but it seems like Dark is actually getting a surprising bit of value here. Okay, Zerglings running in right now, suddenly catching ByuN way off guard. ByuN was starting to make the transition towards a very Marauder-heavy army, so that now allowed those Lings to swoop in and get the surround on those siege tanks. We have a hive done. Dark decides to go into Vipers. Baneling speed is coming. Okay. 59 workers for ByuN, 69 for Dark. Pretty nice. I'm actually surprised how much Zerg economy there still is in this game. How much tech there still is. Because this has kind of felt like a continued all-in here from the Zerg player. Or at least like very committed aggression. But now that the dust has somewhat settled, ultimately, yeah, we're just playing a nice little macro game. Server lag again? Anyone else? Nope. No issues whatsoever. As long as the players are not having lag, I guess it's all good. Sometimes the servers can be a little unstable, but usually it's quite okay. I wish there was a way, by the way, to filter observer chat out of replays. Sadly, as far as I know, there is not. It's actually one of my StarCraft commentator pet peeves. Whenever we have chatter going on in the observer chat. Anyways, big fight here. Moving on once again. Parabomb right there. Good splits here in the end by ByuN, though. Even though he didn't pick off the perfect medevac, he still managed to minimize the amount of damage taken. Yeah, so the players, to clarify, the players cannot see observer chat. They only see a referee chat. But you have to determine who the referee is before a game starts. So they don't see the chat. But referee chat, player chat, as well as observer chat is all baked into replay files. So I'm pretty sure you could just, I don't know. You could probably make it toggleable somehow, because there's a lot of data that you can mess around with, but by default, at the very least, observer chat is shown, and I have not found a way to filter it out. Although usually it's not an issue. It rarely happens. It seems like we have all the StarCraft commentators across the board. We've pretty much all agreed upon not using observer chat. But back in the early days of StarCraft, it was something that was done quite a bit, where the commentators are like commenting on what's going on using the in-game chat, and it's one of the most distracting things ever. Anyways, Lingbane roll by over on the right side of the map. My god. Great micro right here, by the way, from ByuN. He's been doing this for a little bit, where he actually loads SCVs into the planetaries just to try and save them. It's one of those things that's kind of a no-brainer in hindsight, but nobody really did it before ByuN started doing it maybe like a year or so ago. Here's the dreaded Spire. Don't tell me he's gonna do it 2 games in a row. It's only a single Spire this time around. Infestors are coming. Nah, I think he's playing a different late game. Infestors with Neural Parasite. We, by the way, get maybe like... I think we get less than 5 draws at the pro level a year. Most of them are not very interesting. I think that previous one was really quite cool. But most of the time it's like, I don't know, a Zerg versus Zerg, for example. It happens sometimes in ZVZ, I think it's the easiest example, where one player has gone mass muta and the other one has gone mass ground. And the mass ground player moves out, kills all of the economy, but not all of the structures. So the muta player is not able to rebuild anymore, and then they turtle up at home by making a whole lot of spores. So the mutas can prevent any move out and any additional economy, but at the same time the mutas also can't jump the spore. So that's like a... I don't want to say common, but that's like a relatively common situation where a draw can happen. But in ZVT, it is honestly very rare. I don't think the previous game was necessarily a draw, by the way. I kind of felt like that was both players agreeing upon not wanting to play it out, which is a little different. Okay, Sean Familiar, by the way, as we do have a second Spire right now. There is an automated stalemate detector built into the game. That wasn't the case in the very early days, but Blizzard added that after like a year or 2 of competition. Where basically, if the game detects that nothing's really been killed or done for like 5 minutes, it will start a countdown timer. And when the countdown timer ends, it basically says draw in the middle of the screen. It's just that pro gamers never really want to wait for that to happen. They would much rather just decide amongst themselves and then one player leaves and we just rehost the game. Because it takes like an additional 10 minutes. So it's a little... Yeah, there is an automated stalemate detector, but usually it is not played. We have Corruptors coming. Okay. Different Skype Zerg unit here than I was anticipating. I think in all my years of playing this game, I think I've had maybe like 1 or 2 draws. It is very uncommon. Okay. Yeah, good pickup right there by ByuN, getting the ground units once more to safety. Zergling run by set up on the right side of the map. Thor's start up at home. Ghost Academy here, researching the Ghost cloaking. Okay. So after that crazy mass muta game previously, this is the moment apparently where Dark is playing something a little bit more normal. Yeah, Brute Lords with Infestors. Not quite as powerful as it's been in several versions of StarCraft 2. There were several moments in StarCraft 2's history where Brute Lord Infestor was way too good. But right now, it's considered to be quite powerful. Okay. So let's see. Can these brutes really achieve much of anything? Terran's going for a counterattack towards the top left. I quite like that. Obviously, the command centers can just lift off. Siege tanks on the high ground now, getting a bit of a brutling rain. Brutling rain. Some stay dry and others feel the pain. Brutling rain. Okay, sorry. We should be able to push this back eventually, though, now with the Thors coming out. We have Vikings on the production tab. Bunch of ghosts are out, of course, 10 of them. Laying down their snipe ability is going to be really powerful. But Dark has taken control of this high ground. And this is a difficult location, I think, for ByuN to break. Yeah, with fungal growths, the Brute Lords raining their links from a distance. It is quite a difficult spot, actually, for the Terran to get through, but maybe if he can EMP those last couple Infestors. I don't think Dark has to give up on this position, but he's trying to, I think, draw the Zerg, or the Terran, rather, deeper onto that Zerg creep. Zergling run by. Would be nice, but there is a planetary fortress in that location. A ghost from the low ground. Okay, nice snipe right there by ByuN. ByuN actually up with his back against the wall right now, though, despite the fact that he's got a good bit of income and a very powerful army. There is not an easy opportunity here for ByuN really to move out. So, yeah, he's basically settling down right now. He's hunkering down. He's going into a sensor tower, missile turrets, the whole shebang. But it's difficult here for Terran to really expand from this position. Okay. High-sec auto-tracking, building armor. +1 coming up as well for mechanical units. Okay. He does already have the +3 attack, which is important. Zerg, in the meantime, by the way, double upgrading his air units as well. Yeah, at this point, Dark's income here is much better. Fungal growths? Okay, that's a lot of good fungal damage. Banelings on the hunt against any of those juicy, soft targets, but ByuN manages to run away just barely in time. Corruptors hunting down whatever they can, but suddenly, yeah, the flank right here from the Terran's real good. EMP gets rid of all of the energy. We do have a few parabombs, I guess. Corruptors joining in too, but these Vikings are just gonna give themselves up. Even Brenda and Karen, look at them, joining in. Okay, so ByuN actually breaking out of that contain is an important one. It's just difficult for him to really secure another expansion. I don't think this is that great of an option, so we'll probably see him making a move for that base up north instead. Because I don't think this is really an army from the Terran where you can just go onto the creep and push for the win. Because it's a lot of distance to cover. Yeah, Brute Lord Infestor might not be as powerful as it once was, but it's very good at keeping the Terran, well, back, right? Just, you can't push into this very confidently, unless you get some Unless you get some really good EMPs or snipes off or something, but... One nice addition, actually, I really like right here by ByuN is the Blue Flame Hellbats. I think Blue Flame Hellbats against Brute Lords is really good. They make very quick work of those Brutelings. Of that Bruteling rain. They get rid of that really easily. It's a very old meme, by the way. I think the chocolate rain meme is literally older than StarCraft 2. That says a lot. I think that's like a 2008 type of thing. I move away from the microphone so I can breathe. you have to be Tay Zande, I think is what his name is. Yeah. You have to be you have to be paying very close attention in like the 2000s of the internet. It's before the word meme was even used. Okay, some really good snipes going down though. EMP as well, forcing that that Viper to back off. Fight up north. Okay, now this is what Dark's been hoping for. He just caught a big chunk of that Terran army off guard. Lovely stuff. That Ghost valiantly continued fighting, but didn't really achieve what he set out to do. Yep, so the real question is, will ByuN be able to secure another base? Because if he doesn't, I think he's gonna fizzle out over the next couple minutes. He's making command centers, sure. He's got a good army, sure. He's gonna be able to max out. All of that is nice, but securing another base from this position is tough. +3/+3 coming up. You know the only thing that's missing here, Dark? Is a 100 Mutalisk transition. Yeah, I know we're gonna need a lot of gas for that, but I suggest we better start saving. Actually, I don't think there's enough gas remaining on the map to make 100 Mutas. Fairly sure there's not. Well, maybe. You need about 5 full gas geysers. Technically, it's possible. Realistically, I want to call it unlikely to see a mass muta transition in this game, but... Slow games here from ByuN though. None of that aggression that we used to see quite a bit from the Terran. Just passivity seems to be ByuN's forte right now. It's yeah. It's effective, don't get me wrong. It's very strong. But I never really loved the passivity myself very much. There's always one matchup though in the history of StarCraft where passivity is the way to play. And it usually shifts around quite a bit. Right now that seems to be Terran versus Zerg. Historically it was a lot of Protoss versus Zerg. Before that though there was a lot of Zerg turtling too. Okay. Well, that's an awkward looking structure. A planetary fortress with a hatchery wireframe. Corruptors in the meantime, though, are going to try and make work of this, but... Okay, you know what? I was mentioning that I think it's going to be difficult for ByuN to take one of those two bases. ByuN is going to try and take both of them roughly around the same time, it seems. Neural parasites go down. Fungal growths go down as well, though, and that suddenly, yeah, is making this very difficult for our Terran player. The Thors were fighting each other there for just a moment. Brute Lords will be able to finish the job. Dark takes a very good fight in the bottom right. Still one pesky little Zergling here, burrowed underneath. If you look carefully, you can see its yellow little eyes. Yeah, just smiling. It's got a dumb smile on its... There you go. ByuN got rid of it. Brute Lords are going to be able to get rid of this planetary. Obviously, planetary can't fly. ByuN's gonna try and strike back and see if he can potentially take out one of the bases of the Zerg. It is critical right now that ByuN gets another base going. He needs to get another base going here fast. Another fight over here in the middle of the map. I mean, maybe a little bit of an overextension. One of the command centers going deep over the creep, but yeah, that planetary at this point is gone, and Dark is gonna try and see if he can take the base himself. I think if Dark can deny this expansion or do like a Zergling run by or something like it, as he maybe doesn't even need it, ByuN decided to move his army on creep for some reason. He didn't need to go like that. He could have gone through the minerals fields instead. Loses a pretty expensive chunk of his army again. Yeah, we've had multiple occasions now where, look at this. The army size over on the right side of this graph, it's the army size plotted over time. You can tell here that there have been a couple of fights where Terran has just not taken quite the engagement that he should have been looking for. Big bank at this point too here for Dark, so he can remax this relatively comfortably. Whereas ByuN is now smashing his piggy bank to try and go above 150. Rather than going after the base in the top left, the newly acquired one, Dark knows that that is where the Terran army is going to be parked as well, so he decides to go for one of the expansions that is on the exact opposite side of the Terran. Queen's pushing creep over here. Hatchery is going to be taken in this location too. Okay. Lovely movement here by our Zerg. Really well done. Sorry about that, Brenda. Sorry about that, Karen. Margaret is still here, though. As long as Margaret is around, nobody cares. So this is game number 2 in a best of 5 series where the score is 1-1. And I have been casting for about an hour and 15 right now. Score is still 0-0. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. That is, yep. No, there's flawless logic right there. But I think we are getting to the point where one of these two players, and I think it is likely going to be the Zerg. I think we're getting to a point where we will see a point in favor of one of these two. If this game ends in a draw too, I'm gonna lose my mind. Corruptor's coming. 14 more. Okay, never mind. 13 more. Okay, no, actually, he cancels quite a few. I think he wants to go about 20 Brute Lords. Dark actually remaking drones right now. Oof. Come on, lads. Get a point on the board. We're 30 minutes in, Dark's droning. My voice is gonna be gone before the end of this series. I also know, though, that this is very easy for a game like this, right, to slip out of your hands. Although I don't know if it is the right call here to give Terran 2 bases. I feel like this expansion could have been denied. ByuN is now taking another one down south from it, so he's actually getting back up to 2 base economy. I guess in Dark's mind, he's like, you know what, I know that I may have not, you know, had that much income throughout this game overall, but I have more than you, so ultimately I should be okay. ByuN thinking about getting his boots dirty here for just a little bit on those hellbats. Alright, he's gonna kill a insignificant base. And this is exactly the reason why we normally don't see Terrans moving out very much. Even though I don't love the turtly style myself very much, it is definitely the right way to go because, well, this didn't really achieve anything, and now we lost quite a chunk of the army. There's a spine crawler over here. When did we make spine crawlers in that location? Anyways. Dark's like, no. You know what I need? 2 spine crawlers and 2 spore crawlers. That'll change the game. Okay. Whoa, big fungal. That might honestly seal the deal. Yep, that is allowing those banelings to now close the distance. ByuN's army supply plummets once again. Some uncharacteristic mistakes, and I think that's really due to the fact that this is a long match. These two have been fighting on post youth for more than an hour now. It's been a very long match. GG is called. Dark wins the second game of the series and gets the 1-0 on the scoreboard. Game number 3. Sorry. I'm not gonna let this go, okay? Even though it's gonna confuse a lot of people. But game number 3. The score is 1-0. We've got ourselves a triple Reaper opener right here for ByuN on Crimson Court. Dark has decided to mine out the Skinnery mineral fields really early to take the third base over here in the vertical position. ByuN immediately checks for this though, and he knows now exactly what he's playing against. Actually, a bit of a dangerous way to open up right here for Dark. Yeah, because he's once again fully gasless. He's fully gasless against a double barracks opener. I actually would not mind seeing ByuN continue making Reapers. I think he'd make 2 more. Maybe not. I have seen Dark play against this in the past, where he is gasless against this very aggressive opener. So usually, right, the way you defend this as Zerg is wait until link speed is done. However, there is not going to be link speed anytime soon. We'll probably see double gas again at one moment here for Dark and then instantly into a Roach Warren. Okay, Dark just using this as an opportunity to go into 3 additional queens. Dark builds are so funny to me. Like, his decisions are just... they make very little sense on paper, you know? But I love to watch it because he usually seems to make it work. It's one of those things, like this opener here as well, where if you give this a try, and you're not really freaking good at microing your units, like, he makes it looks pretty easy, right? This doesn't look like a very complex early game here for Dark, but if you miss micro this, you can lose like 6 drones easy peasy, and then suddenly it's basically game over. Especially against somebody like ByuN. ByuN's very good when it comes to controlling those early game Reapers, but... okay. Gases have been taken in the main base. Roach Warren's coming up. In the meantime, on the other side of the map, we've a triple command center opener. A 2-1-1 in the end, but it looks like it's going to be a 2-1-1 with Banshees. Yeah, 2-1-1 with Banshees. Cloaking field coming up too. Usually this build from Terran follows up with double medevac production at this point in time. That is obviously something that Dark will be assuming as well. He's going to make the assumption that about 5 minutes into the game, he has to worry about 2 medevacs flying across with like 14-ish Marines or whatever. But that's not the case here. Drone's coming. Dangerous game though that ByuN is playing here, because Dark is going to be able to saturate 3 bases really rapidly. And he's really leaning now into that Banshee to deal a lot of damage. It's just that with usually a 2-1-1 opener, right? So it starts with 3 to 5 Reapers. 2 to 5 Reapers usually. You go into bio on the back of this always. So you always go into Marines, right? That's the real follow-up. That's the only one that's really viable. So because you're going into a bio follow-up, you pretty much always go into medevac production too. So Dark is... okay, he is going to make spores. Interesting. Well, he's seen the Banshee now. Why in... hold up right now, ByuN. You showed the Banshee before Banshee cloaking is done? Yeah, I mean, then you're gonna... what? This had so much potential. Okay. Well, I thought for a second that Dark star senses were tingling, that he was like, yo, I'm gonna make spore crawlers right now, because this seems weird to me, but he literally just saw the Banshee. Okay. Curious decision right there from our Terran. I don't love that very much. We've seen a couple of, yeah, uncharacteristic errors now in game 2 and 3 of this series. Showing the Banshee when you're putting this much effort in, I mean, maybe he just assumed that the opponent would counter it anyways. But it's not, like, it's very common against a regular triple CC 1-1-1 for Zerg to make blind spore crawlers. Or a straight up 1-1-1 with a delayed third command center for the Zerg to make blind spores. But against a double barracks opener, usually, or at least quite commonly, those are skipped. Anyhow, Banshee's going in. There is no spore over here. Overseer is coming right now. You know what? ByuN may still have just found an angle. Queens were not close enough to go in for the transfusion. Wow. I don't think this was supposed to happen, but... okay, 5 drones is better than nothing. I would call that the bare minimum to really justify this. 19 drones on the production tab. My god. Dark does not care. No, Dark does not care about losing a bunch of drones here, apparently. Roach speed is going to finish. 1-1 is going to finish up as well in a little bit. Link speed. In the meantime, ByuN is going into 1-1 himself. Now the Roach production begins, and a Spire also starts up. So this is Roach Ravager into Mutaling Bane. Strange unit composition. Strange tech switch from Dark, and that's exactly why he's doing it. Okay, Stimpack helping out quite a bit. Yeah. Need a lot more Roaches here to try and fight this. Nice control by ByuN. 4th command center starts up. We have ourselves a 2nd factory over at the front as well. We've seen very little Widowmine play ever since the Widowmines got nerfed. I feel like Terrans haven't been playing it so much against Zerg, but I still think it's a powerful unit. It's historically something we've seen many times, by the way. That StarCraft players, myself included, almost like throw a tantrum because one of the units got nerfed. We're like, well, you nerfed my unit, I guess I won't play it at all anymore at that point. And it takes a couple months and then somebody gives it a try again and we're like, oh yeah, no, you know what? Widowmines in this case, I think they're still pretty powerful. It's just that, yeah, we're a little angry that there was a double nerf to the unit. Here come the Mutas. Ten Mutas here are a little strange, much like the Banshees from earlier. You wouldn't expect Mutas here after a Roach Ling Bane opener. It's a bit funky. So those Mutas could certainly do a lot of damage over here. There's no missile turret or anything like that set up. I would love to see a missile. Hey, would you look at that? We actually have a Widowmine transition. Okay, this could hurt. This could hurt ByuN a lot. I don't think ByuN has an army to really attack with. Okay, well, 4 SCVs and a siege tank is about as good as it was gonna be, I think. Nice control right here by the Zerg. A couple Marines. This is now forcing those medevacs, though, to go back home. The forward base here is quite nice. Sensor tower reveals on the minimap that indeed Dark is playing against the 4th CC. I don't think he realized it flew on over in this direction. Link's in the meantime on the right side of the map, nibbling away at the rocks. ByuN does have about a 1-minute timing window though, or maybe a 30-second or so timing window, but he's got a bit of a window here for his 2-2 upgrades. Zerg is a while away from finishing those. Gets a Muta, not bad. I don't think this Zerg army can push at the front. He's thinking about it. Yeah, ByuN could go for an attack, but we're doing that thing instead where we just expand and expand and expand. I think against Widowmines, though, Mutas are a very dangerous choice. Oh, looks like he may have just caught the army. +2 is starting to finish up right now here for the Zerg. I would love to see ByuN commit pretty hard here. Yeah, fighting on creep is tough. Oh, siege tanks, siege tanks. Some juicy shots. Ooh, he could have retargeted into that clump of Banelings. Just barely missed it. Here is the Widowmine connection, though, trying to get some work done as well. Banelings still rolling through. Zerg forces the liftoff on that orbital command. 15 SCVs full. New expansion making here as well on the right side of the map. Hive coming up. Okay, so ByuN is going to have a very significant timing window here. Yeah, his 3-3 is going to be done ages before the Zerg is ever going to get close. But for now, the upgrades are going to be mostly even. With the Muta threat mostly deleted at this point too, ByuN has decided, okay, we're going to start fighting some of those outer expansions. He hasn't seen it, but he can smell that there's a command center, or a Zerg command center, a hatchery close by. Muta's in the meantime trying to be annoying. We have a bunch of stimp marauders to try and make quick work of that. Big push at the front as well. There's not enough Terran here to deflect this. Ooh, okay. Interesting push forward, deep onto creep, right as we're microing at home as well. A dangerous set of decisions right here from ByuN. Looks like the fight over here is going decently well for the Zerg. In the meantime, the fight over on the right side of the map, the Zerg army is on move command. The queens end up going down. Hatchery falls too. Dark clearly has his camera over here on this, well, frontal attack that he's gone for. He did kill 39 SCVs just now. He's gonna lose a lot of drones in the process too, plus a ton of army. How much larva do we have? Only 6 larva. Dark has got a ton of money in the bank, but no way to spend it. He doesn't have ultra tech or anything along those lines, so no easy way for him to drop his resources. He needs to stabilize here and get a round of queen injects done ASAP. ByuN creating chaos left, right, and center. Loses a bunch of medevacs on the way home. Marine Marauder medevac, though, pushing through. I think ByuN has figured out that something here is a little bit wrong. Finds a lot of the banelings morphing in. We already saw in the previous game that ByuN, well, maybe getting a little bit tired after that very long game number 1 of the series. A very long game number 2 as well. This may be a similar situation right here for Dark. Slipping up in his queen injects. Usually not a mistake that happens at the professional level, but, well, the margin for error is extremely small. Next up, we find ourselves on Oceanborn. Normal opener here from ByuN. Apparently we're not too keen on playing double barracks once again, even though I've seen ByuN do that build a million times on this particular map. Dark opening up with a gas geyser this time around. Not saturating it though. Oh, gets a drone. Nicely done right here actually by ByuN. Oh, almost getting a second drone. So why did we make a gas geyser if we aren't gonna mine it? I think he really wanted to get the third hatchery going here before anything else. Maybe just in case it would have been. Oh, he already got 100 gas. Wait, hold up. I was talking about, he mined perfectly 100 gas. You know what? Apparently the players may be getting a little bit tired, but I might be part of the crew. I thought for a second that Dark was not mining any gas here whatsoever. This is what I get for fast forwarding through the first 2 minutes of the game. I thought he forgot saturating that old thing. Yeah, okay, that's not what happened at all. He did go for the normal link speed into a regular third hatchery. It's gonna be a triple CC opener here once again from our Terran. Not all too weird, not all too strange. It's actually getting very hot in here. What's the temperature? 24 degrees Celsius. Ay, 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 ay. I'm gonna have to use my magical device on the wall to try and cool things down a little bit. Zergling run by. At least attempt it. Bit of a crazy Ling run by actually at this stage in the game because he knows he's going up against Hellions, or at least he must be. Okay, good crisis management here by ByuN. Lovely bit of control. Okay, misrally right there on at least one of the Hellions. That's okay though. There's a lot of Zerglings. Yeah, that misrallied Hellion may actually make things much harder than they need to be. Keep in mind this is triple CC, so killing a bunch of SCVs really isn't that impactful. I think he could have, I think he could have lost a little bit less than that. Okay. That's Dark for you, though. Makes a random group of Zerglings right when link speed finishes up for really no apparent reason. If this would have been a perfect early game from Terran, I don't think he would have really taken any damage from that, but that is going to make it all a little bit trickier. 4 Hellions and 8 SCVs for just 20 Zerglings. I think that's a pretty good trade right there for Dark. Then again, though, if the wall-off was properly raised, right, and we didn't misrally one of the Hellions, I think that would have looked a little different. My nerdy body functions best when it's like 16 degrees and rainy. That is peak Dutch temperature for me, okay? Maybe a little cooler than that still. That is where my body thrives. When we're going to 24, 25 degrees, my brain slows down. Celsius, of course. Don't know how much that is in Fahrenheit. Or Kelvin. Don't know how many Kevins that is either, though, for what it's worth. New German unit of measurement. Okay. So, bio follow-up right here from ByuN. Expansion building here up north. We are setting ourselves up very nicely once again for a bit of a macro build. Yeah. Cloaking is going to finish up, I guess. We have a Banshee, but the Banshee is just chilling at home. Yeah, we're gonna wait until the second Banshee is out. Here we go. Okay. Quick Baneling opener here for Dark, going into the Baneling speed nice and quickly. He's gonna be playing Hydraling Bane, it looks like. Yeah. ByuN not really playing a very creative series, right? But he doesn't really need to be. Not really mixing things up too much, not bothering with Terran mech. Just the tried and true strategies. No detection. I'm a little surprised that we actually haven't had blind spore crawlers every game. Yeah, there's one over in the main base. But that's really about it. Yeah, 6 drones down like that is quite painful. But Dark already did drone very aggressively during all of this. So he's all the way up to 78 workers after losing those drones. The problem is, right, when you come in with the delayed Banshee, sure, you may be able to deal damage with it, but you're also going up against the Zerg that has a lot more eco in the first place. So percentually, your damage is actually not that significant, even though in absolute numbers, 10 drone kills is pretty good. It's just that you can very easily remake it 2 at this point. Ooh, what? Okay. What are we doing here? 2 additional factories building. Is this just for mass siege tank production again? I think it is, actually. This is what he did in game number 1. I thought for a second we had a mech transition, because normally you wouldn't see 2 factories coming up at this point on the production tab. Yeah, we're going 2 additional factories with 2-2. Okay. 2-2 for the infantry units, that is. Funny little decision right here, though. Yeah. Now the additional barracks go down too, together with the 4th command center. So I think ByuN is reading this game as a Ling Bane-based army, right? So no Roach Ravager Ling Bane, but Ling Bane, be it Hydras for support or whatever. And it turns out, against any sort of Ling Bane early game for the Zerg, any sort of Ling Bane-based mid-game army, mass siege tank is the way to go. So he's adding on a much quicker 3rd factory than we normally would see. But I think it's going to work out really nicely here for the Terran. Although it's not really an army composition that is very pushy, you know? It's just kind of sitting there. It's very good defensively. Yep, it's very good at allowing you to make more command centers, and that's exactly what ByuN is doing. My god. We're coming up on like the 2-hour mark at this point, man. Okay, no, maybe an hour and a half or so. Is this innovation playing or ByuN? I did get to cast a... Ooh, what? Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, it's only 18 Banelings, but that is a major misclick right there from Dark. Accidentally blowing up his own units. Wow. Now he's feeling the heat. That never happens. If you play on grid hotkeys, and I'm assuming Dark has adjusted this years ago. I've had this happen in a lot of my games until I ultimately changed the hotkey after stubbornly complaining about it for 5 years. The hotkey for morphing in Banelings on grid is hotkey Z. And the hotkey to manually blow up your own Banelings is also hotkey Z. I changed it to hotkey C now, which works out a little bit better. Because sometimes when you think you've only selected Zerglings and there's a bunch of Banelings in the control group too, you end up blowing up your own Banes. Don't know what happened right there for Dark, but that really shouldn't have happened. Anyways, oh my god, really? We're still just gonna push? After just blowing up 18 Banelings of our own? Well, you know what? The man saw an opportunity and he will grasp it with both hands. Oy, oy, oy. So much damage done. Woo! Imagine 18 more Banes, guys. Imagine literally 18 more Banes. Oh, it would have actually been a disaster right here for ByuN. What I was trying to say earlier, I did cast a best of 7 at some point in the past. This was a best of 7 that got to game 7, and it featured innovation. I don't remember who the opponent was anymore, but in every single game, innovation would just be opening up triple CC. Every single time. And it was the longest series I've ever seen. It just kept going. We're like hours upon hours into the finals. And once more, we have ourselves a triple CC opener. It's actually insane. Like, that's one of the reasons why they called that man the machine. This is the mules, by the way, starting to bring back those resources. Not just because, like, innovation used to play the same strategies over and over and over again, but also because he would just do it very late into the day. Like, this man was playing StarCraft for 8 hours and he's still opening up triple CC. Most players at that point are like, oh man, take me to sleep. Like, what are we doing right now? Bring me to my hotel room. No, no, no. Not innovation himself. The man with the least innovative build orders ever in StarCraft history. Okay. So Dark managed to blow up a bunch of his own units, but he then also got a lot of damage done. That mass siege tank army here for the Terran, not actually helping him out nearly as much as I thought. Well, here we go once again. Adrenal Glands is finishing up in 3 seconds. Big improvement to the Zergling attack speed. Banelings once more. Are they gonna try and hunt for the mineral line? I don't know, man. No, they're hunting for that clump of juicy, soft Terran units. But that engagement went a whole lot better right there for ByuN. Woo! Actually, incredibly well managed right there by our Terran. Look at that. Absolute nosedive in the army supply count. Now, he is going to be able to remake. But that was about the most cost-efficient trade that ByuN could have ever hoped for. Luckily here, Dark is playing StarCraft 2 on a trampoline right now. He's actually bouncing up and down at the moment. Casually drops about 100 supply worth of stuff. And then rebuilds it immediately. That is costly though, because he can't continue doing that. Yeah, look at the resources lost at this point. Okay. Zergling run by. Once more. My god, we're just gonna rinse and repeat. I actually think Dark should wait a couple seconds here for 3-3. Although I say that Terran also is gonna finish up his own in just a few seconds. It's just that Dark doesn't know about that. Lovely defensive play right here though from ByuN. Cancels the CC as well in time. He has lost tons of SCVs, but he's been overmaking them. So he can actually replace them quite easily. And there are more command centers coming. Yep. If it is up to ByuN, we're playing another 40-minute game. Okay. Ultralisk Cavern coming up here for Dark. He has taken up basically the entire map that he can reasonably grab. Swarming his opponent as much as possible. ByuN right now playing a campaign mission. Just trying to play defensively for literally a half hour here. Very cost-inefficient fights, of course, for the Zerg player, but if you can keep the Terran player occupied and destroy the economy, at some point those bases are gonna run out, and already, yeah, the main is running dry, natural is running dry, third base is not gonna be far behind. Although I think in the original plan, yeah, this expansion was never supposed to happen. Now Dark suddenly has to contest with that. Lovely building positioning right here from ByuN, by the way. Making a wall off. That's a full wall. I think so, anyways. There might be some room over there. Blue Flame Hellbats mixed in too. Well, soon to be Blue Flame anyways. 16 SCVs down, but the Orbital Command lives. And as we already saw, the command center count is looking pretty good. We're now up to 6 orbital commands. Loads of energy available, loads of mules that can be landed. There is about a minute or two of downtime between every single one of those Zerg attack waves. So ByuN is using these next 45 seconds or so to just mine out as much as he can. Ultra Cavern is done. Chitinous Plating is gonna finish researching here in just a moment. I think we'll see one more attack wave with Hydraling Bane Viper, and then we'll see a transition towards Ultraling Bane. Okay. ByuN is playing SimCity. Different game, ByuN. He's like, I didn't like City Skylines 2 very much. We're doing this instead. Here comes the swarm. Blinding Clouds getting in quite a bit of work, but not a lot of firepower on the back of this, honestly. A lot of spellcasting, sure. A lot of banelings, sure. Not loving these fights very much. It's a roller coaster for the Zerg. Yeah, I think it's really well done here by ByuN, to be honest. Who, by the way, is now going up against the Zerg, who's trying to become next-door neighbors. Scan reveals, indeed, that expansion has been taken. We're gonna go and drop 2 Hellbats here. Interesting choice. Probably the lowest DPS unit against an expansion like this, but... Alright. They'll try and roast it. Wow. Just messing up the paint job. And then we're leaving again? It's like the Terran equivalent of keying somebody's car. Very mean from ByuN, man. Can't believe this. Okay, here we go again. Spire coming up. Swarm coming up as well, though. Is there enough? Now we have Ghosts in the mix. Blue Flame Hellbats in the mix. +3/+3 is finished. +3 ground attacks as well for the siege tanks. And suddenly these fights are starting to look even more desperate than they already felt. Look at this beautiful, barely a dip in right there actually for the Terran. Engineers watching this love the pattern here for the Terran. It's very consistent. We have the Terran heartbeat over here. So we made this Ultra Cavern. Ultra Cavern is nice and all, but Ultras have not really been useful. No, I don't think the Ultra here is going to be very useful at all. We got ourselves a bunch of Ghosts. Quite a bit of damage here in general. Siege tanks coming up, but yeah. ByuN really not really playing for a victory anytime soon. He is more than happy to continue playing this exactly the way that he has been. Try to build up that Death Ball army that can counter most of the Zerg. And then eventually overwhelm. I mean, honestly, I think this is a game where Dark already intended on winning the game by now. And since he hasn't, he's gonna have to make a strategic decision towards something that plays a little differently. No, you can't. Nah, you can't. Well done by ByuN. Managed to stay alive. He's now gonna be making a move. Oh, that hatchery apparently is misplaced. Anyways, he's gonna be making a move for that base on the right side. More transition coming up, but the scans here are basically infinite now. So ByuN sees everything coming in from a mile away, and he decides to round out his unit composition with a bunch of Thors and even more Ghosts. Great choice. He didn't want to just jump into the Thors there, willy-nilly. Wanted to have confirmation of what exactly he was playing against him. The perfect scan. Yeah, the tricky part right here for the Zerg player is that those Ghosts are really good against pretty much everything that Zerg can make in the late game. So he needs to be cautious. He needs to constantly do tech transitions like this. There you go. Good fungal growth to try and slow down this advancement here for the Terran. Terran at the bottom of a low ground also makes this more difficult. Fighting up is usually not what you want to be doing. Good play right here by the Zerg. Fight over at the bottom of the map. Ooh, an Ore Army Hotkey maybe here from ByuN? No, he just tried to drag this army away. Ghosts getting so much work done. The Terran late game. The late game experience. Scans and snipes. That'll be the name of ByuN's memoir one day. See, those fungals are nice, but there's no follow-up. Look at him. Yeah, ByuN is just eating the fungals for breakfast now. No follow-up right there for the Zerg, because he's got most of his army split at the bottom, and it looks like ByuN manages to keep that base alive as well. Very nicely done right here by the Terran. The cost efficiency from Terran has been amazing, but he doesn't actually have a lot of money anymore, because Zerg has gobbled up the entire map. These next couple minutes are going to be do or die for ByuN. He needs another base. This expansion, by the way, even though Dark has... yeah, he's had it denied a bunch of times, it is taken here in the end. And ByuN tried his best to get rid of it. Pew, 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 pew. Planetary Fortress finished up. ByuN, after fighting at the bottom of this high ground for a long while, is now starting to secure the high ground, and he wants to secure it. Yeah, sensor tower coming up, but also a massive blinding cloud. Nicely done right here, once again. Okay, I think finally Dark is going to be able to get the kill on this base, but kind of ironic because there's barely any mining remaining now. He's been trying to kill this base for the better part of 10 minutes. Ultras are going in, but yep. Ghost will be able to snipe that down easy peasy. Okay. We have a couple of blue flames. I think we need to see some static defense up on the high ground too. I think that'd be really strong. One of the issues you run into right now as Terran is that your static defense and your siege tanks and whatnot is spread very thinly. So you have to be cautious with where you're putting all your units. Oh. That Ultra stayed alive to kill a... never mind. Stayed alive for no reason. Here comes the Swarm once more. Dark knows that this base is absolutely pivotal for the Terran. So even though I don't usually love watching Banelings blow up a planetary fortress, I think it is the right call. In the meantime, though, Terran army has split itself off, and he's going to deny that base once and for all. Nice play, though, here by Dark, I think, all things considered. Because this expansion is essentially the lifeline of the Terran right now. There is no more mining other than a couple of skinny mineral fields here for the Terran player. So ByuN is bleeding out. Dark still sitting at 78 drones, still taking as many of the resources as he can. He is starting to run low as well. So this expansion is actually quite important here for the Zerg. Yeah, you would probably love to take that one too, but that's a very ambitious play. Okay, if ByuN can secure another expansion and actually like hold on to it, I think this is a really good situation for him. That's the only problem, though. It's very difficult to get that to happen. He's gonna fly an orbital in that direction. Well, at least you don't usually lose your orbital against Banelings, because you can lift it off, unlike a planetary, but that's a dangerous play. Risky maneuver right here from our Terran. Oh, ghosts! Banelings! Okay. ByuN managed to slither away with at least most of the ghosts. High-rolling Bane remains. Gonna try and kill the siege tanks. Oh, I wonder if he could continue pushing. Yeah, he knows that the rest of the Terran army is gonna be pushing on over in this direction too, though, to defend. So we now have Neural Parasite coming up. Okay, this expansion will be denied. Orbital Command is finished. Push over on the right side of the map, though. These Lings are really going to hurt, because Terran now has their entire army caught in the bottom left-hand corner of the map. It looks like ByuN has actually given up on it. ByuN is thinking about winning the game with this army? I don't think you can do it. Big fungal growth once again. This time around, there is a follow-up. Lingbane rolling forward. Hydra's trying their best to get damage done too, but a phenomenal split right there from ByuN. Fungal growth or not, you can obviously still maneuver the units around and give them move commands. You know what? If ByuN kills this base, Dark has actually got very little income remaining. ByuN killing this base and then securing the expansion on the right side of the map could be the play. Dark still sitting at 71 workers. Okay, here we go once more. Everything that the Zerg has been attack moved in this direction. A little bit of all army hotkeying. Infestor's very far forward. ByuN right now, less than half the supply of our Zerg. Problem is though, for Dark, he's got a lot of supply caught up in those, well, workers that aren't doing anything. This expansion, man, it's so low. Dark really knows he cannot afford losing it. ByuN also knows that he really needs to try and kill it. Is he finally going to be able to finish the job? Drones are starting to long distance mine over on the right side of the map too. Okay, Blue Flame Hellbats. Excellent choice. I almost feel like you should target the hatch. He doesn't know how many banelings or how many drones there are. Big EMP! Oh my lord. Well done right there by ByuN. GG gets cold. Wow. So Dark knows that that base is dead. He knows that ByuN next is going to be securing that expansion on the right, and there's nothing he can do about it. Insane. Next up, we find ourselves on Amphion. Match point right here for ByuN. But judging by the previous games, this series could take another hour and a half or so, easily. Yeah, we throw a little draw in there. We have at least another hour and a half. Minimum. Pool first though, this time around right here from our Zerg player. A delayed expansion. Probably hoping, crossing his fingers, that this was going to be a CC first right here from ByuN, but it's not. Can still work out though in his favor because there was no SCV scout leading ahead of the Reaper. So, if you don't have an SCV scout confirming that it's a pool first or a hatch first, then these links can actually still be a nuisance. I think you split off one. Yep, exactly, to go after the SCV. Now the front door of our Terran player's base is wide open. No second depot or anything like that yet. Reaper is gonna have to make the run of shame all the way back. Oh, well that's not what we should be attacking. Good crisis management though here by ByuN. Trying his very best. Getting quite a bit of damage in. Overlord is getting shut down, and honestly, that was very well handled by ByuN. He did lose a lot of mining time, I guess. Yeah, so Zerg. Oh. Zerg right there. Was ahead for just a moment, but now that the Terran is back to mining, life is good. And ByuN immediately fires up a third command center. Match point or not, that is not going to be an aggressive build right here from ByuN. You know what? I think this is a perfect moment to take a bite of my sandwich. One sec. I'm getting hungry, dude. A little bit of eating ASMR. Oh. Bit of a skill check, but ultimately, that Reaper falls flat on its face. Okay. We got ourselves the spawning pool finishing up the metabolic boost research. Third command center is going to finish up as well momentarily. This could be a delayed Banshee, but I don't think so. Even though he's played Banshee the last couple games, it would be very late in this particular instance. Okay, nice little snipe on the creep tumor there, but once again, a pretty passive opener here from ByuN. I'm actually a little bit surprised with how passive he's been playing this series. Like, he's been making some moves, but they're all very conservative. Yeah, ByuN getting more conservative at old with his old age, you know? Now that he's in, I think he's like 31 or whatever. Maybe 30, I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, back in my day, we used to play it a little bit slower. No, it is interesting. Because especially ByuN used to play the game really quite aggressively. All over the map, drop everywhere. Loads of very quick movement. I wonder if he actually changed his playstyle up because of his wrists. He's had wrist issues for many years. I haven't really heard him complain about that in quite a bit. He plays tons of games, he plays tons of tournaments. So I guess it's not really something that bothers him much anymore, but I wonder if that's one of the reasons why he sort of steered away from that super twitchy playstyle into something a bit more laid back. Either that or it's just the way that the Terran meta has evolved, of course. This is something that Maru has been playing quite a bit. Even Clem has been mixing it in quite a few of his games too. Very ambitious creep tumor over here. Yeah. Not a great idea. Okay. Yeah, so ultimately this is just leading towards good old barracks. Barracks and medifex. Dark is gonna start working on some of the small mineral fields here on the left side of the map, while taking the base in the top right. Liberator getting a kill. Drone's forced to run away. Again, mostly just a skill check. Good work here though by Dark. He's up to 3 base saturation right now. 4th hatchery coming up. We'll probably be taking the expansion on the left here as well in just a moment. Whereas ByuN has only just now secured the 3rd. So Dark has got basically full 3 base saturation before ByuN even really is starting to mine the 3rd base. Which is about the best case scenario. Sure, he lost a few drones, but 4 drones is nothing all too crazy. Should definitely fire up bailing speed. Okay, I was gonna say. Without bailing speed, life is gonna be difficult. Usually that is the one resource that... or the one upgrade, rather, that really allows the Zerg to stay alive. SCV scout ahead. What are we doing here, ByuN? What are we doing here?
Mineral field depleted.
Hear me out. Supply depots, sensor tower. No reason other than the fact that it would look cool on the minimap. Hive coming up. You could scout the Zerg's main base. Yeah. You could scout the Zerg's main... oh, Jimmy, no. Scouting the Zerg's main base with a sensor tower is next level decision. Proper timing on the armory this time around. Okay. +1/+1 is going to finish here in a moment, and it is going to be a nice little power spike for Terran. But if the previous games are any indicator, I don't think ByuN is going to do too much. To be fair though, the upgrades are all very much so in sync. There we go. Look at that entire right side of the screen. I wonder what happens if there's too many upgrades finishing up at the same time. Does my screen just overflow? Yeah, the drop in the main base is nice. That's going to hurt Dark quite a bit. That medevac was hiding in that corner for a good minute or two. Couple overlords, couple drones. Medevac goes back to its corner. Push over at the front as well, not really achieving as much. Because Dark was all over that. Now that he's got bailing speed done, life is much, much easier. You'll be opening up as many of these... It's the first time I see this base taken, I feel like. I haven't seen this expansion taken very frequently at all. Anyways, Terran is going to be moving onwards. Trying to carve a path through all of that creep, but there's a lot of movement all over the map. There is actually a noticeable slowdown throughout this series. That's interesting. Both players were playing like a solid 50 to maybe 70 or so APM faster during the first game. We don't talk about stamina of pro gamers very much, but it is something worth noting here. This has been such a long series that I can imagine these guys are getting very sleepy. Now, keep in mind that this is also the finals of the Korean StarCraft League, right? So it's not like this is the only series they're playing. Usually there's like a round of, at least a round of 8 and a round of 4, but usually also a round of 16. Even though this is one of the first times I see this base taken, ByuN doesn't like it very much, so he's gonna shut it down. Drilling claws. Okay, so no more siege tank shenanigans here. So rather than going siege tanks for his source of splash damage, ByuN has decided to go into Widow Mines. Terrans in general haven't really been playing as many Widow Mines because the unit did get nerfed quite a bit. Nice pickup micro right there by ByuN. Good target firing as well. Lauren got me a little bit of coffee. I got a little bit of extra coffee. Don't mind if I do. She snuck in here. Put a cup of coffee on my desk and then snuck away. I think it was supposed to be a secret. I ruined it. Anyways, Banelings over here do connect with the bio bull. I really like the carving of the creep here though. Really good work by ByuN, because he's now able to take the entire left side of the map. And that's actually a really nice path to push into, because this is a natural expansion, right? This choke point is quite difficult for the Zerg to attack through. I guess he can set up a surround over here from the right side. Matter of fact, drop in the top right-hand corner also gets shut down, but ByuN doing a little bit more multitasking compared to what we saw. So 2-2 is done. Or finishing. Oh, double starport transition. Double starport into a fusion core. We do not have a Ghost Academy. So it looks like ByuN wants to go... If he ends this with a bunch of battle cruisers, I'm gonna lose my mind. I think this has to be a mass liberator transition, but you should really have a Ghost Academy here. And since he doesn't have a Ghost Academy, I'm starting to wonder if the fusion core is for... Nah, it has to be libs. No, okay, I was gonna say. No, it has to be liberators. Extra command centers coming up. I guess he hasn't had the need, really, to go into Ghost yet, but it's also kind of crazy not to have the structure done at this point. Banelings are gonna open up the front door, though, for the links to now flood in. And that is going to be deflected again as well here by ByuN, but not without 13 SCVs going down. Okay. +3/+3, researching for our Terran. I would have loved to see some lurker play as well in this series, but so far, Dark has not played lurkers anywhere. Which is an interesting decision. I feel like, I guess we haven't seen Serral play in a little bit, but Serral has usually, at least, the last few times I've seen him play before he went off to the military, he usually likes lurkers quite a bit. Okay. Another hatch taken right there on the right side of the map at the 3 o'clock position. So far away from where Terran is set up, though. Like, this feels like it is way out there. Medevacs can sort of make it, but a main army push in that direction is going to be tough. ByuN decides to go for the central base now, which is kind of a curious one. I would have imagined him to take this one first, but apparently we're going to... Ooh, bailing mines. Okay, that's the only thing we haven't seen yet, I guess. Ghost Academy, by the way, now on the production tab. And even though it's a difficult road to cross, ByuN does make it to this expansion a second time, while also dropping inside of the opponent's main. I think you could target fire down the hive. Links are showing up right now. Barabomb is going to be annoying. Transfusion is not going to... Whoa, it is! It is! He didn't actually target it with the Marauders. In the meantime, there's a push as well over in the natural expansion of the Terran. Reinforcing units, though, for the Terran do pop out. Those troops that were previously in charge of killing the base at the 3 o'clock also come back home. That expansion is gone. Expansion in the center of the map denied as well by the Zerg player, who's now going to try and send his reinforcements on over towards the left. Widowmine does get a nice connection in, but this is still going to be costly. Pushed in the main base, though, for the Terran once again unloads. Hive ends up going down. Most of the SCVs actually slither away, if not all. Ultralisk transition coming up. Ghost Academy never finished. We do have 6 libs, however, hitting the battlefield right now at a time. And upon seeing these ultras, I think they'll be pretty happy about it all. He did make the fusion core, but he never researched advanced ballistics. He never got anything out of the... Okay, 14 drones end up falling. Trying to see if he can get one of those Evo chambers. Honestly, getting an Evo chamber kill here would be huge. Instead, he decides to go for the Ultra Cavern. Ultra Cavern, quite a flimsy unit. Does end up falling. Liberator in the top right-hand corner sieges up on top of a Spore Crawler. Okay. Now ByuN is finding himself with a supply lead. Interestingly enough. Never taking this base. A lot of Terrans like to take this one as their third. So the fact that we still haven't seen it yet is... pretty cool. He's gonna remake a planetary fortress over at that 9 o'clock. He'll try to shut this down wherever he can. Well handled. Very well handled right there. Okay. Both players pretty much broke as far as the gas goes. It's essentially just minerals going up against minerals. Now ByuN is going to be able to snipe these Evo chambers, but there's no research going on anymore because 3-3 already finished for Dark a few minutes ago, who's once more going to go for a big attack inside of the natural and the third of our Terran player. Banelings decided to burrow, Tried to set up a trap right there for those juicy Marines to walk into, but nice handling right there by ByuN, but he's certainly gonna lose a lot of SCVs in the process. Did he notice that those Zerglings were trying to burrow? I'm assuming he did not. Ultras in the meantime going after that Ghost Academy. ByuN still not really making any ghosts. He's got one out right now, one more on the production tab. He did actually scan just now to reveal those burrowed Zerglings. 30 SCVs go down. Drop in the main base, did clear out all of the structures from the Zerg. Okay. More Banelings set up everywhere. Trying his very best to just burrow wherever possible. I wonder if it's a good idea to maybe get some burrowed Banelings in that location too. But ByuN is starting to really pull ahead right now when it comes to the supply count. He's got 4 orbital commands. He's only got 33 workers though. So at this point his main advantage is the army, right? He's got 126 army supply versus only 54. Dark lost the spawning pool in the main base? Spawning pools at this stage in the game actually take a very long time to build. We don't usually see a rebuilding on the spawning pool, but losing it actually is slowing down Dark a lot. Dark has got a ton of money in the bank, but no way of spending it. He lost the Ultra Cavern like we saw. He lost the spawning pool too. He doesn't have a Spire. All he's got is a Baneling and a Baneling Nest and an Infestation Pit. That's not really what you want to be spending your resources on. He's gonna go for some Corruptors to try and open up more of an opportunity, I guess, for those Ultras, but the Spire falls there too. Push on the right side of the map into a choke point. Brilliant fight right there for ByuN. And ultimately, it is going to be our Terran player who ends up winning this best of 5 series in 5 maps. 3-2-1. But what a match.